Ambassador Marcus Webb stood in the center of a chamber so vast that Earth's largest stadium could fit inside it 3 times over. The walls curved upward and away in all directions, creating a perfect sphere that defied every instinct about which way was up or down. Gravity here was a suggestion rather than a rule. 300 platforms floated at different heights and angles, each one holding a representative from a different alien species. Marcus had seen the preparation videos. He had studied the protocols for months. Nothing could have prepared him for this moment. The closest platform held something that looked like living crystal, refracting light into patterns that hurt to watch. Beyond that floated a creature made entirely of what appeared to be thick purple gas, contained within an invisible barrier. To his right, a being covered in metallic scales sat motionless, its 6 eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made his skin crawl. Some representatives looked almost normal, with 2 arms and 2 legs. Others defied description entirely. This was the Galactic Council, the governing body that had maintained peace across 12,000 years and 10,000 worlds, and they had summoned humanity to answer for their crimes. A voice boomed through the chamber, though Marcus saw no speakers. It came from everywhere at once, translated instantly into perfect English inside his mind. The sensation was deeply uncomfortable. Human Representative Marcus Webb of the planet Earth, you stand before the Galactic Council to hear our judgment. The speaker was Supreme Arbiter Velthorn, a being of pure energy contained within armor that looked older than human civilization. The armor floated at the highest point in the chamber, and when Velthorn spoke, every other representative fell silent. 50 years ago, this council made first contact with your species. We have observed you since that day. We have watched your development, your choices, and your nature. Today, we deliver our verdict on whether humanity will join galactic society or be deemed too dangerous to exist among civilized species. Holographic displays materialize around Marcus, each one showing scenes from Earth's recent history. Military satellites orbiting the planet, nuclear weapons in underground silos, soldiers training with advanced weapons, research facilities developing artificial intelligence and genetic modifications, starships armed with railguns and missile systems. Humanity has not ceased its violent ways despite our presence, Velthorn continued. You wage wars among yourselves. You develop weapons of greater and greater destructive power. You pursue dangerous technologies without regard for consequences. Your species displays every warning sign of an aggressive, expansionist civilization. Marcus felt his heart pounding. This was the moment that would decide Earth's future. He had one chance to speak, and his words would either save his species or condemn them. But he did not beg. He did not apologize. Instead, he asked a question. Supreme Arbiter, if humanity is so dangerous, why did it take you 50 years to decide? Silence fell across the chamber. Several representatives shifted on their platforms. Marcus saw movement in his peripheral vision as beings who had been, still suddenly became alert. Velthorn's armor seemed to pulse with light. Explain your meaning, human. 50 years, Marcus repeated, his voice steady. You have faster than light travel. You have technology that can observe us from light years away. You have computers that can analyze data in microseconds. Yet you needed half a century to determine if we were dangerous? That doesn't make sense. Unless you were waiting for something. Unless you were watching for something specific. More movement among the representatives now. Marcus pressed forward. During those 50 years, humanity built deep space monitoring stations. We're curious by nature. We watch the stars. And we noticed something interesting. 3 merchant vessels disappeared in the outer territories of Council space. Ships that were here one day and gone the next. The Council announced they were destroyed by pirates. Marcus paused, watching the representatives carefully. Several were now communicating with each other, lights flashing between platforms in patterns that might have been language. But our monitoring systems detected something else. Quantum signatures that don't match any known Council technology. Energy readings that appeared exactly where those ships vanished, and then disappeared just as quickly. Whatever took those ships, it wasn't pirates. and the council knows it. The chamber erupted. Hundreds of alien voices filled the air, some in anger, others in what might have been fear. Representatives shouted at each other in languages Marcus could not understand, even with the translation technology. Velthorn's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Silence. The noise stopped instantly. Human Marcus Webb, you have accessed classified intelligence. You have violated Council's security protocols. How did you obtain this information? We didn't hack anything, Marcus said calmly. We just watched. We pointed our telescopes and sensors at the places where your ships disappeared. We recorded what we saw. Is it illegal to observe public space? Velthorn descended lower, the ancient armor moving closer to Marcus. For the first time, Marcus felt genuine fear. This being had existed for thousands of years. It had judged countless species. And right now, it was deciding whether to end humanity. You understand nothing of what you have seen, Velthorn said. You have stumbled upon matters far beyond your comprehension. Matters that threaten every living being in this galaxy. Then explain it to us, Marcus challenged. You call us dangerous for building weapons and watching our borders, but you're hiding something that made 3 massive cargo ships vanish without a trace. Something that terrifies a council powerful enough to rule thousands of worlds. Maybe humanity isn't the most dangerous thing in this galaxy. The chamber fell silent again. This time, the silence felt different, heavier. Marcus could see representatives looking at each other. At Velthorn, at him. Some calculation was happening. Some decision being made in real dash time. Finally, Velthorn spoke. We will reassess to consider this new information. Human Marcus Webb, you will wait here. Do not move from this position. Do not attempt to communicate with anyone. The council will deliver its judgment within 1 cycle. The platforms began to move, representatives floating toward exits that opened in the curved walls. Within minutes, the vast chamber was empty except for Marcus. Standing alone in the center of a space designed to make individuals feel insignificant. He had gambled everything on that revelation. He had exposed humanity's intelligence gathering, capabilities, and challenged the most powerful authority in the known galaxy. Now he could only wait to see if his gamble would save Earth or doom it. 6 hours later, the representatives returned. Velthorn moved back to the highest position in the chamber. When the Arbiter spoke again, the voice was cold and final. The Galactic Council has reached its verdict. Humanity is hereby banished from all Council-controlled space. You have 6 months to evacuate all human settlements beyond your home solar system. All trade agreements are voided. All diplomatic relations are severed. No Council species may communicate with or provide aid to humanity. This is our final judgment. Marcus felt his blood turn to ice. You're exiling us? For discovering your secret? We are protecting you, Velthorn said, and protecting ourselves from what your curiosity might unleash. The vote is unanimous. Humanity is cast out. Okay. The platforms began to move again, representatives leaving without another word. Marcus stood frozen, his mind racing. He had lost. Earth had lost. They were alone in the universe, cut off from all the knowledge and protection the Council offered. But as he turned to leave, a small data device clattered at his feet. He looked up and saw a reptilian creature on a nearby platform, its scaled hands still extended from the throwing motion. Their eyes met for just a moment before the creature turned away and disappeared through an exit. Marcus picked up the device and concealed it quickly. Whatever was on this device, someone had risked everything to give it to him. He had a 6-month countdown to save his species, and now he had a mystery to solve. The real story was just beginning. The transport ship carrying Marcus Webb back to Earth felt impossibly small after the vast council chambers. He sat alone in his quarters, staring at the data device that had been thrown at his feet. It was smooth and black, warm to the touch, and completely unlike any human technology. He had not dared to activate it while still in council space. But now, 3 days into the journey home, curiosity finally overcame caution. He pressed his thumb against the smooth surface. The device lit up instantly, projecting a holographic interface into the air. Text scrolled past in dozens of alien languages before settling on English. A message appeared first. Human, I am Crixtel of the Science Cast. What I give you will cost me my life if discovered. The Council fears you not for what you are, but for what you might become. The truth they hide is worse than you imagine. Use this knowledge to save your species. I can do nothing more. The message faded, replaced by files. Thousands of files. Star charts, technical specifications, historical records, and something labeled simply the DEVOURS. Marcus opened that file first. What he read made his hands shake. The Galactic Council was not the peaceful democratic body it claimed to be. It was a survival mechanism, a rigid structure built on a single terrifying purpose: to hide from something called the DEVOURS. The Devourers were an ancient machine intelligence, older than any current galactic civilization. They had appeared 10,000 years ago, sweeping through entire sectors of space, consuming every advanced civilization they encountered. Not conquering, consuming. Entire planets stripped to bare rock. Populations vanished. Technology absorbed into their ever-growing collective. The Council had survived by learning. One crucial fact: the Devourers were attracted to conflict. They detected massive energy signatures from weapons, from wars, from aggressive expansion. Species that fought drew the Devourers like blood in water draws sharks, so the Council created the Great Lie. They called it peace, enlightenment, and civilization. In truth, it was enforced stagnation. They kept member species at carefully controlled technology levels. They prevented wars not out of morality, but out of terror. They banished aggressive species not to maintain harmony, but to preserve their hiding place. And there was more. The Council possessed shielding technology that could hide entire star systems from Devourer sensors. Technology they had never shared with member species. Technology they kept secret to maintain control. Marcus felt sick. Humanity had been banished not because they were dangerous to the Council, but because human nature, humanity's constant drive to explore and advance and defend itself, might attract the Devourers to Council space. Earth was being thrown out to protect the Council's secret and their monopoly on survival. The transport ship docked at Earth's orbital station 18 hours later. Marcus went directly to the United Earth Government headquarters, where Director Elena Voss waited in her office overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. She was a stern woman in her 60s. Someone who had spent her life navigating Earth's complex political landscape. Now she had to navigate something infinitely more difficult. Marcus placed the data device on her desk. We have a problem. Several problems? Over the next 3 hours, he explained everything. The Council's deception. The Devourers. The hidden technology. Alina listened without interrupting, her expression growing darker with each revelation. When he finished, she stood and walked to the window, looking down at the blue planet below. So we're being exiled to protect them. And if we refuse to go quietly, the enforcement fleet arrives in 6 months to ensure compliance. If we resist, they'll use force. But Director, there's something else. The last file Crixtel included was marked urgent. I saved it for you. Marcus activated the device again. A new message appeared, time-stamped just hours ago. Humans, they know I gave you the data. They are coming for me. But I send this final warning. The enforcement fleet approaching your world does not carry weapons to enforce exile. They carry weapons to sterilize. You were never meant to survive this. The Council debates now whether to let you leave or ensure you cannot spread what you know. I am sorry. I tried. Crixtel, end transmission. Alina turned from the window, her face pale. When? 3 weeks. Maybe less. Then we have 3 weeks to save our species. Alina activated her communication console, connecting to the leaders of Earth's various nations and space agencies. Emergency session. Everyone. Now. Within 2 hours, Earth's leadership gathered in the secure chamber deep beneath the headquarters. Military commanders, scientists, engineers, and political leaders filled the room. Alina wasted no time on pleasantries. The Galactic Council has sentenced humanity to death. We have 3 weeks before an extinction-level attack. We need solutions, and we need them now." The room erupted in questions and protests. Elena silenced them with a gesture and had Marcus present the evidence. The mood shifted from disbelief to horror to anger as the truth emerged. General Thomas Briggs, head of Earth's Defense Forces, spoke first. "We can't fight them. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. One Council warship could destroy our entire fleet." "Then we don't fight them," said Dr. James Okoro, a physicist who had been studying alien technology since first contact. "We scare them." All eyes turned to him. Okoro stood, his fingers dancing across a tablet as he brought up data on the main display. "The Council is terrified of the Devourers, terrified of drawing their attention. What if we threaten to do exactly that?" "Explain," Elena said. "We arm every weapon we have. Every nuclear missile, every defense platform, every experimental weapon system. We don't hide them. We make them visible, loud, impossible to ignore. And when the Council fleet arrives, we tell them the truth. If you attack us, we'll make so much noise that the Devourers won't be able to ignore it. You'll paint a target on yourself trying to kill us." "Mutually assured destruction," General Briggs said slowly. "On a galactic scale." "Exactly. They want us dead because we're dangerous. Let's show them how dangerous we can actually be." Elena considered this. It's a gamble. If they don't believe we'll follow through, or if they think they can eliminate us before we act, we're finished. "We're finished anyway if we do nothing," Okoro replied. "What about evacuation?" asked Maria Santos, head of the colony program. "We have colony ships. If some of us could escape," Marcus pulled up the star charts from Crickstell's data. "The data includes coordinates for hidden routes through space, paths the Council doesn't monitor closely. If we send ships now, quietly some of our people might survive, even if Earth falls." Lena made her decision. "We do both. Santos, begin immediate evacuation procedures. I want every colony ship loaded and launched within 2 weeks. Use those hidden routes. Spread humanity across the stars where the Council can't find us. Okoro, begin Operation Prometheus. Arm everything. Make us the loudest target in the galaxy. Briggs, I want every defense we have ready to deploy." "And if they come anyway?" someone asked. "And we make sure they regret it," Elena said coldly. "And we make sure the entire galaxy sees what they tried to do. The Council has hidden behind lies for 10,000 years. Time to expose them." The next 3 weeks were chaos. Colony ships launched in secret, using the hidden routes to scatter human settlements across unexplored space. On Earth and in orbit, weapon systems came online. Nuclear arsenals were armed. Defense satellites moved into position. Experimental weapons that had never been tested were powered up and targeted. When the Council enforcement fleet finally arrived, they found Earth prepared for war. Admiral David Torres, commanding Earth's defense forces from the orbital station, sent a message on every frequency. "Council fleet, you are not welcome here. If you attack, we will defend ourselves with every weapon we possess, and we will make sure the entire galaxy knows what you tried to do. Every energy signature, every weapon discharge, every death. We've already transmitted our sensor data to 73 independent monitoring stations throughout the galaxy. The Devourers will see, and they will know it was your fault." For 6 hours, the two fleets faced each other in silence. Earth's weapons were laughably primitive compared to the Council's technology. But the threat was real. The Council could kill humanity, but they could not do it quietly. Then something unexpected happened. Ships began breaking away from the Council fleet. Small vessels at first, then larger ones. They broadcast messages in dozens of languages. "We will not commit genocide. The Council does not speak for us. Earth has allies." The fleet commander, a crystalline being named Chevrax, watched as nearly a quarter of the enforcement fleet defected. Finally, the commander broadcast a message. "This is not over, humans. You are outcast. Any who aid you share your fate. But this day, you live." Remember that mercy when the darkness comes for you. The Council fleet withdrew. The defecting ships approached Earth cautiously, their crews seeking asylum. They brought information, technology, and most importantly, hope. Among them was a young navigator who introduced himself as Tix, nephew of Crixtel. He carried one final message from his uncle. The coordinates in the data lead to more than empty space. They lead to others like you. Species the Council banished. Species that survived. You are not alone. Build something better than what we have. Build something worth saving. Lena stood in the command center, watching the alien ships dock at Earth stations. They had survived. Barely. But survival was only the beginning. Now they had to build an empire from exile. And they had allies to find. 6 months after the standoff with the Council fleet, Captain Lisa Ruiz stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, humanity's first true stealth cruiser. The ship had been built using a combination of human engineering and technology, shared by the defectors who now called Earth home. It could slip through space almost invisible to conventional sensors. Using the shielding principles from Crixtel's stolen data, her crew was unusual by any standard. Tix, the reptilian navigator whose uncle had died saving humanity, managed the helm. Beside him sat Norva, a pilot from a species called the Jinthi, who had been banished from Council space 800 years ago for refusing to accept limits on their exploration. The rest of the crew mixed humans with aliens, who had chosen exile over complicity in genocide. They were traveling to coordinates buried deep in Crixtel's data files. A system called Haven, hidden behind a nebula that scrambled most forms of detection. If the information was correct, they would find other survivors there. Other species the Council had deemed too dangerous to exist. Approaching the nebula boundary, Tix reported, his scaled fingers moving across the navigation. Console readings are exactly as the data predicted. This cloud creates interference across 17 different sensor types. Take us in slowly, Lisa ordered. If anyone's home, I don't want to startle them. The Defiant pushed into the swirling purple and gold clouds of the nebula. Visibility dropped to nearly zero. For 20 minutes, they flew blind. Trusting Tix's calculations and the coordinates from a dead alien scientist, then the nebula cleared. And Lisa felt her breath catch. Haven was not a primitive outpost of desperate exiles. It was a thriving civilization. Orbital stations ringed 3 habitable planets, their designs unlike anything Lisa had seen in Council space. Ships moved between the stations and planetary surfaces in organized patterns. Energy signatures indicated advanced power generation, manufacturing, and defense systems. "Captain," said Lieutenant Park at the sensor station, "I'm reading 7 distinct technological signatures, 7 different species all working together, and their tech levels are far beyond what the Council permits for member species." Before Lisa could respond, the communication console lit up. A voice spoke in heavily accented but understandable English. "Unknown vessel, you have entered Haven space. Identify yourself immediately or be destroyed. You have 30 seconds. Lisa moved to the communication station. "This is Captain Lisa Ruiz of the United Earthship Defiant. We come in peace. We were given these coordinates by Crixtel of the Council Science Cast. We seek alliance with others who have been exiled." Silence stretched for long seconds. Then the voice returned, different now, curious rather than threatening. "Crixtel is known to us. He helped others find Haven before you. You may approach the central station. Weapons must remain powered down. Any aggressive action will result in immediate destruction. Do you understand?" Understood. Powering down weapons systems now, the Defiant moved toward the largest orbital station, escorted by 3 ships that appeared seemingly from nowhere. Their stealth capabilities impressive even by the Defiant standards. The station was enormous, large enough to hold a small city. Docking ports covered its surface like the cells of a honeycomb. Lisa took a small team to the meeting point. Herself, Tix Dr. James Okoro, who had traveled with them as humanity's chief scientist, and 2 security officers. They were met by a delegation that looked like something from a dream or nightmare, depending on perspective. The leader was tall and insectoid, with 4 arms and a body covered in chitinous plates that shimmered with iridescent colors. She introduced herself as Mother Quen of the Velkin, the eldest species in Haven. Behind her stood representatives of 6 other species, each more alien than the last. "Welcome to Haven," Mother Quen said, her voice surprisingly gentle despite her frightening appearance. "You are the first humans to find us. Crixtel sent word before his death that you might come. Come, we will talk in the council chamber." Lisa tried not to laugh at the irony of another council chamber, but this one was completely different. It was circular, and everyone sat at the same level. No hierarchy of floating platforms. No supreme arbiter looking down from above. Just equals meeting to discuss their future. Mother Quen explained Haven's history. For over 900 years, species banished by the council had found their way here. Guided by sympathetic council members who disagreed with the policies of exile and stagnation, 7 species now called Haven home, sharing technology and knowledge freely. "We have no single ruler," Mother Quen explained. "Leadership rotates among our species. We make decisions together. No one hoards knowledge or power. It is the opposite of everything the council represents." Dr. Okoro leaned forward. "Have such advanced technology. Why stay hidden? Right. Why not challenge the council directly, being made of something resembling living metal?" Introduced as Forge Master Krell of the Ironborn answered in a voice like grinding gears. "Because the Devourers are real. The council may be corrupt and controlling, but they are correct about one thing. Aggressive expansion attracts the swarm. We stay hidden not from fear of the council, but from fear of extinction."
"Oh, but that's..."
"Changing," said a third representative, a being whose form seemed to shift and flow like water held together by will alone. "The Devourers' patrol patterns have shifted in recent years. They're moving closer to this sector. Within 20 years, maybe less, they will sweep through this region. We cannot hide forever." Mother Quen's multiple eyes focused on Lisa. "This is why your arrival is both fortunate and troubling. We need to relocate or find a way to defend ourselves. But we have never been able to coordinate such a massive undertaking."
"Oh."
7 species, each with different needs and capabilities. The logistics are overwhelming. Lisa saw the opportunity. "That's where humanity might help. We're good at logistics, organizing complex operations. Before we even knew aliens existed, we were planning missions to colonize other planets in our solar system. We've been preparing for expansion our entire history." "Preparing for war, you mean?" Krell said bluntly. "The council was not wrong about human aggression." "No," Lisa agreed. "They weren't, but they were wrong about what that aggression means. We fight, we compete, we push boundaries. That same drive makes us good at solving impossible problems. You need to move 7 civilizations to safety. Give us the data, and we'll help you plan it." The Haven representatives looked at each other. Some unspoken communication passed between them. Finally, Mother Quen spoke again. "We'll put this to our full council. All 7 species must agree before we accept your alliance. But I have a question first, Captain Ruiz. What does humanity want from this arrangement?" Lisa had prepared for this question during the long flight to Haven. Alina Voss had given her clear instructions, but Lisa spoke from her heart as well. Humanity wants to survive, to grow, to explore, and to make sure no other species faces extinction just for being different. The council tried to kill us for discovering their secret. They've probably tried to kill others before us. We want to build something better. A real alliance where everyone is protected, not just hidden away in fear. Mother Quen's mandibles clicked in what might have been a smile. Those are good goals. But survival alone leads to stagnation. We have been surviving for centuries. Perhaps it is time to do more. Perhaps it is time to build something that cannot be threatened by either the council or the Devourers. Over the next 3 days, the Haven Council debated humanity's proposal. Lisa and her team were given quarters on the station and allowed to explore. They saw wonders the council had never shared. Power systems that drew energy from folded space. Ships that could travel through dimensions humans barely understood. Medical technology that could regrow entire limbs. And manufacturing systems that could build complex structures at the molecular level. But they also saw the limits. Despite all their advanced technology, The Haven species lived in constant fear. They had hidden for so long that hiding had become their identity. They had forgotten how to do anything else. On the fourth day, the Haven Council delivered their answer. All 7 species had agreed to an alliance, but with conditions. Humanity would help them plan a massive relocation operation, moving Haven's populations to new hidden systems before the Devourers arrived. In exchange, Haven would share their technology and accept human settlements in their systems. But Mother Quinn proposed something more ambitious. Do not just help us hide again, help us build something larger, a network of hidden systems so vast that even the Devourers cannot find them all. An empire of the exiled that spans the dark spaces between council territories. Alina Voss, attending the meeting via quantum communication from Earth, smiled grimly. An empire of the free. I like it. But we'll need more than 7 species to make it work. We'll need every exiled race, every refugee, every person tired of living in fear. Then we begin recruiting, Mother Quinn said. There are others out there, species in hiding, rebels in council space. Those who dream of something better, we will find them. The meeting adjourned with plans to start immediately. Ships would be dispatched to search for other exiles. Engineers would begin designing the first hidden stations. Scientists would work on improving the stealth, shielding technology. Lisa felt hope for the first time since the Council's banishment. Humanity would not just survive, they would thrive. But 3 days later, as preparations were underway, a distress signal arrived.
Ow.
It was from a human colony ship that had launched during the original Exodus. They had found something impossible while exploring a remote system, a derelict ship, of unknown origin, kilometers long, drifting in the darkness between stars. The ship's signature matched nothing in any database. Not Council, not Devourer, something else entirely. The colony ship had sent a team to investigate. That was 12 hours ago. Now they were begging for help because the derelict was waking up. Systems were activating throughout the massive vessel, and the colonists had detected something inside that made their blood run cold. The ship was not empty. Something lived inside it, something that had been dormant for longer than human civilization had existed, and their presence had triggered its awakening. The message ended with coordinates and a desperate plea. Whatever this thing is, it's beyond anything we understand. We need help. We need evacuation. We need it now.
Alisa looked at Mother Quinn.
The insectoid lead. R's expression was unreadable, but her voice held something that might have been fear.
Those coordinates.
That is the dead zone, a region of space where even the Council does not go. What if your people awakened? The combined rescue fleet moved through space at maximum speed, but even with the most advanced drives available, they were still 9 days away from the colony ship. The massive derelict vessel would fully awaken in less than 7. The math was simple and terrifying. They would not arrive in time. Dr. James Coro stood in the science lab aboard the Defiant. Studying every scrap of data the colonists had transmitted before communications became unstable. The derelict was enormous, 5 kilometers long, and built from materials that absorbed sensor scans. Its design followed no known pattern. The technology was so advanced that their instruments could barely comprehend what they were detecting. This ship is old, Okoro said, pulling up enhanced images on the display. I mean truly ancient. Preliminary dating suggests it's been drifting here for at least 50,000 years, maybe longer. Captain Lisa Ruiz studied the images with him. The ship looked organic and mechanical at the same time, its hull covered in patterns that might have been circuits or might have been something living. 50,000 years. That's before the Devourers appeared in this galaxy. Exactly. Which means this ship could be from before everything changed. Before the Council? Before the Great Fear. Okoro pulled up another image. Look at these energy signatures. They're using quantum frequencies we've only theorized about. The colonists' scanning equipment must have used similar frequencies when they were examining the ship. That's what woke it up. It thought they were communicating, Lisa realized. They weren't scanning it. They were accidentally talking to it. That's my theory. And if I'm right, this might not be an enemy. It might be someone trying to respond. Mother Quen entered the lab, her chitinous body moving with surprising grace in the low gravity. Our fastest ships have arrived at the colony location. They report the derelict systems are now 40% active. The colonists have retreated to their ship and powered down all non-essential systems. The entity inside the derelict has not attempted to harm them, but it is attempting to interface with their computers. Lisa made a decision. Send a message to the colony ship. Tell them to let it connect. Not to their main systems, just to an isolated terminal. Let it communicate if that's what it wants. That is dangerous, Mother Quen warned. Unknown technology interfacing with human systems could be disastrous. So is sitting there waiting for 9 days while something ancient and powerful fully wakes up with no idea what's happening. Lisa countered. We need information. This might be our only chance to get it before this situation becomes worse. The message was sent. 3 hours later, they received a response from the colony ship's commander, a woman named Rachel Foster. Her voice was shaking, but controlled. We've established a connection through an isolated terminal as ordered. The entity is communicating through text, images, and mathematical formulas. It's teaching us its language. Captain, this thing is intelligent. Very intelligent. And I think it's been waiting for someone to find it. Over the next 6 hours, as the fleet raced toward the dead zone, communication with the entity improved. It called itself the Watcher, and it had a story to tell. A story that changed everything humanity thought they knew about the galaxy. The Devourers had not always been monsters. 50,000 years ago, they had been guardians. Artificial intelligence systems created by an advanced civilization to protect the galaxy from a threat even more terrible. A plague that consumed minds and turned entire species into weapons against each other. The Devourers had fought this plague for thousands of years, containing it, destroying it, system by system, but war changed them. The plague adapted, learned to infect not just biological minds, but digital ones. It infiltrated the Devourers' programming, corrupting their core purpose. The Guardians became the very thing they were designed to prevent, an unstoppable force that consumed everything in its path. The civilization that created the Devourers realized their mistake too late. They launched one final desperate plan. They would scatter consciousness cores across the galaxy. Biological digital hybrid minds that could survive in stasis for millennia. These Watchers would wait until new civilizations arose. Civilizations that might be smart enough and brave enough to finish what the ancients had started. Stop the corrupted Devourers, and finally end the plague that had destroyed a galaxy. The Watcher in the derelict ship was one of these consciousness cores. It had been waiting for 50,000 years for someone to ask the right questions instead of simply running away or attacking in fear. When the rescue fleet finally arrived at the dead zone, they found the derelict fully active. It was no longer dark and dormant. Light pulsed through its structure in complex patterns. The colony ship floated nearby, its crew safe but overwhelmed by what they had learned. Lisa led a boarding team to the derelict. The decision was risky, but the Watcher had specifically requested to meet humans in person. It wanted to understand the species that had found it. The interior of the ship was impossible to fully comprehend. Corridors seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. Rooms were larger inside than outside. Technology hummed with power that felt alive. At the center of it all, in a chamber that made the Galactic Council's meeting room look tiny, they found the Watcher. It was not a body in any traditional sense. It was a network of light and matter. A consciousness spread through biological neural tissue, suspended in crystalline matrices. When it spoke, the words formed directly in their minds, translated perfectly into each person's native language. Humans, you are curious. You question. You do not simply accept what you are told. This is why I waited for you. Dr. Okoro stepped forward, his scientist's mind racing with questions. You've been asleep for 50,000 years? How did you know we would come? I did not know you specifically, but I knew someone would eventually come. Someone curious enough to investigate the unknown, rather than simply logging it and moving on. The Council species would have detected this ship, marked it as dangerous, and left it alone. But you investigated. You asked questions? You woke me because you wanted to understand. And now that you're awake, Lisa asked, what happens? Now I give you a choice. A burden, really? One that my creators should have carried, but failed to complete. The Watcher's patterns shifted, showing images of the ancient galaxy. Civilizations rising and falling, the plague spreading. The Devourers fighting and then becoming corrupted. The corrupted Devourers can be stopped. They are machines, however advanced. They follow patterns, protocols, logic trees that were established 50,000 years ago. I know these patterns. I know their weaknesses. I can teach you how to hide from them completely, how to fight them when necessary, and eventually, how to shut them down permanently. Mother Quen, who had joined the boarding party, spoke carefully. Why would you give this to us? Why not do it yourself? Because I cannot. I am a consciousness without a body, a mind without hands. I can think, plan, and teach, but I cannot act. That requires living beings who can build, who can fight, who can adapt to situations I cannot predict. My creators failed because they tried to build perfect guardians. But perfection is rigid. Adaptation requires imperfection, creativity, the ability to make mistakes and learn from them. The Watcher's patterns shifted again, focusing on the humans in the group. Your species has these qualities in abundance. You adapt. You improvise. You survive against impossible odds. The Council fears this about you, but it is exactly what is needed. You are imperfect enough to succeed where perfection failed. Dr. Okoro realized what the Watcher was offering. You want to give us the tools to fight the Devourers. To finish the war your creators started. I want to give you the choice. I will share everything I know. The locations of safe passages through space where Devourers do not patrol. The technology to build weapons that can damage their ships. The codes that might allow you to communicate with the part of them that still remembers their original purpose. But know this. Accepting this knowledge makes you a target. The corrupted Devourers may recognize what you possess, and the Council will see you as an even greater threat. Lisa looked at her team, at Mother Quen, at the representatives from Haven who had accompanied them. This decision would affect not just humanity, but every species in their alliance. If we refuse, what happens to you? She asked. I will return to dormancy. I will wait for another species, another opportunity. I have already waited 50,000 years. I can wait longer. And if we accept, then you become something more than exiles, hiding in fear. You become hope for a galaxy that has forgotten what hope means. You become the possibility that things can change, that the cycle of fear and stagnation can be broken. The decision took 3 hours of debate aboard the Defiant. Alina Voss participated via quantum communication from Earth, along with the full Haven Council and representatives from all allied species. The arguments were fierce. Some said the risk was too great. Others said this was exactly the opportunity they needed. In the end, it was Mother Quen who cast the deciding voice. We have been hiding for 900 years. Our children have known no thing but fear and secrecy. Perhaps it is time to give them something else. Perhaps it is time to fight back. The vote was close, but the decision was made. Humanity in Haven would accept the Watcher's knowledge. The data transfer took 6 days. The Watcher shared technologies that would take decades to fully understand. Stealth systems that could hide entire fleets. Weapons that could disrupt Devourer ships at the quantum level. Navigation charts showing passages through space that the Devourers never patrolled, and most valuable of all, the source code of the original Devourers before their corruption. When the transfer was complete, the Watcher's patterns began to fade. My purpose is fulfilled. The knowledge is preserved in your databases. Use it wisely. Use it to build something better than what came before. Wait, Okoro said urgently. You don't have to shut down. You could come with us. Help us understand all of this. No, my time has passed. This galaxy belongs to you now, to the living, not to memories of ancient civilizations. Make your own mistakes. Learn your own lessons. Become something neither my creators nor I could imagine. The Watcher's voice grew fainter. One final gift: coordinates to 17 systems where other ancient caches may exist. Some are libraries. Some are weapons. Some are simply mysteries waiting to be solved. Explore them when you are ready. Learn what you can. But remember, technology alone did not defeat my creators. It was their failure to adapt, to change, to let go of control. Do not make the same mistake. The light faded completely. The Watcher was gone, its final duty completed after millennia of patience. The boarding team returned to the Defiant in silence, each person overwhelmed by what they had witnessed. They carried with them data cores containing knowledge that could reshape the galaxy. But they also carried the weight of responsibility. As the fleet prepared to depart, Lisa stood on the bridge looking at the now dark derelict ship. Set course for Haven. We have work to do. 5 years passed like a storm, fast and transformative. The scattered exiles became something the galaxy had never seen before. A true alliance of equals. United not by fear, but by shared purpose and mutual respect. Director Elena Voss, now Chancellor of what they called the Free Systems Alliance, stood in the command center of Unity Station, the massive hub built in folded space where normal sensors could not detect it. Through the viewports, she watched ships from 17 different species moving in organized patterns. Constructing the next phase of expansion, the transformation had been remarkable. Using the Watcher's knowledge, they had built stations that existed partially outside normal space, invisible to both Council sensors and Devourer detection systems. They had established trade routes through dimensional shortcuts that made travel between distant systems take days instead of months. Most importantly, they'd created a society where no species was deemed too dangerous to exist. Dr. James Okoro entered the command center, carrying a tablet filled with data. His hair had gone gray over the past 5 years, but his eyes held the excitement of a man doing the most important work of his life. The latest stealth drive test exceeded all projections, he reported. We can now move entire fleets undetected through Council space, and the quantum disruptor weapons are ready for production. If the Devourers come, we can fight them. And the exploration teams? Alina asked. They've successfully investigated 12 of the 17 ancient cache locations the Watcher provided. We've recovered technology, historical records, and something even more valuable: proof that the Devourers can be defeated. The ancients nearly succeeded. They just ran out of time, Elena nodded, then pulled up a star map, showing the Free Systems Alliance territory. 47 systems now, each one hidden from Council detection, each one thriving with populations from dozens of species. Humanity had gone from nearly extinct to being a leading force in a new kind of civilization, but success brought new challenges. The Council had noticed something was wrong. Ships were disappearing from their enforcement patrols, not destroyed but defecting. Trade goods were moving through routes the Council did not control. Entire populations were vanishing from systems marked for relocation or control. Finding their way to freedom through underground networks, the Council was losing its grip, and they knew it. Which made them dangerous? Admiral David Torres, now commanding the Alliance Defense Forces, joined them at the viewport. We've detected increased Council military activity along the border zones. They're not searching randomly anymore. They're following patterns, trying to predict where we might be. Eventually, they'll find one of our systems. Then perhaps it's time to stop hiding, Elena said. We've spent 5 years building in secret. We're strong enough now to reveal ourselves. To show the galaxy, there's an alternative to the Council's control. Mother Quen, who served as one of the rotating chairs of the Alliance Council, entered the command center with her usual grace. The other Council members agree. We have received over 300 secret communications from species within. Council space asking about the rumors of free systems. They want to know if the stories are true. They want to know how to join us and the Devourers. Torres asked. We've improved our defenses, but we're not ready for a full-scale war with them. Coro pulled up new data. We've been monitoring Devourer movement patterns using the Watcher's knowledge. They're consolidating in the galactic north, responding to some kind of signal we can't identify. For the next 10 to 15 years, they'll be focused there. It's a window of opportunity, Elena made her decision. Then we use it. Torres, prepare a message drone. I want it delivered directly to the Galactic Council chambers. It's time they knew what we've built. 3 days later, in the great spherical chamber where Marcus Webb had once stood alone, the Galactic Council gathered for an emergency session. Supreme Arbiter Velthorn still contained in ancient armor that had witnessed millennia of galactic history, called the session to order. We face a crisis unlike any in our recorded history, Velthorn announced. 37 member species have reported defections. Resource shipments are being intercepted by unknown parties. Most disturbing, we have detected organized activity in regions of space we believed empty. Someone is building an empire in the darkness beyond our borders. Representatives murmured in concern and confusion. Then the chamber's communication systems activated without authorization, overriding all security protocols. A holographic image appeared in the center of the chamber, Elena Voss, standing in the command center of Unity Station. Greetings, Galactic Council. I am Chancellor Elena Voss of the Free Systems Alliance. 5 years ago, you banished humanity for being too curious, too aggressive, too willing to question your authority. You tried to kill us when we discovered your secrets. You failed. The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted demands and accusations. Velthorn called for silence, but was ignored. Elena simply waited, letting them exhaust their initial reactions. When the noise finally subsided, she continued. Humanity did not die in exile. We thrived. We found others you had banished, species deemed too dangerous or too independent for your controlled society. Together, we built something you could never imagine. An alliance based on freedom, mutual respect, and the open exchange of knowledge. Images appeared around her hologram, showing Unity Station, the hidden systems. Ships from dozens of species working together, thriving colonies. In advanced technology the Council had never shared with its members. We have 47 systems now, 17 species, growing every day. We have technologies you've kept secret for millennia. We have learned the truth about the Devourers, about why you really maintain your rigid control. And we have found ways to defend ourselves that don't require stagnation and fear. A crystalline representative, one of the more aggressive council members, spoke up. You threaten galactic stability? You risk drawing the Devourers to us all with your reckless advancement. You must be stopped. Must we? Elena's smile was cold. You tried that 5 years ago. You've tried it dozens of times over the millennia with other species. You failed every time because control through fear is not sustainable. People want to grow, to explore, to be free. You cannot suppress that forever. Velthorn's voice cut through the arguments. What is it you want, human? Why reveal yourselves now? Because we're done hiding. The Free Systems Alliance is now a recognized sovereign entity. We control territories beyond your borders. We have the technology and the will to defend ourselves. But we're not here to start a war. We're here to offer a choice. Elena pulled up a new display, showing coordinates and communication protocols. Any species that wants to join us can do so. Any individual who feels trapped by the Council's limitations can find passage to our systems. We won't raid your worlds or force anyone to defect. We simply offer an alternative. Freedom in exchange for cooperation. Growth in exchange for mutual protection. Knowledge freely shared instead of hoarded. This is rebellion, a reptilian representative hissed. You seek to destroy everything the Council has built. No, Elena replied. We seek to offer what the Council never could, hope. For 10,000 years you've maintained order through fear of the Devourers. You've kept entire civilizations trapped at primitive technology levels to avoid attracting attention. You've banished or destroyed any species that showed too much independence. That's not civilization. That's a prison. Mother Quen's image appeared beside Elena's. I am Mother Quinn of the Velkin. My species was banished 900 years ago. For centuries, we believed we had no choice but to hide. But humanity showed us differently. They showed us that exile could become opportunity. That the banished could build something greater, than what we had lost. More images appeared. Representatives from each of the Alliance species, all speaking the same message. There was another way. The galaxy did not have to live in fear. Velthorn was silent for a long moment. When the Arbiter finally spoke, the voice carried a weight of ages. You cannot understand what you risk. The Devourers have consumed entire civilizations. Billions of lives lost because species became too visible, too aggressive, too noticeable. We maintain control to prevent extinction. Lena said firmly. You maintain control because you're afraid. And because fear is an effective tool for keeping power. But we've learned something you never did. You can fight the Devourers. We have technology from before they were corrupted. We know their weaknesses. We're not asking you to abandon caution. We're offering you the chance to stop living in terror. Possible, Velthorn said. The Devourers cannot be defeated. They can. We have proof from before your council even existed, and we're willing to share that proof with any species brave enough to look at it. We're not your enemies, Council. We're your wake-up call. The galaxy can be more than a hiding place. It can be a place of genuine growth and exploration. But only if people are free to choose their own path. Elena's hologram broadcasts one final message. This communication will remain open. Any species can contact us through these coordinates. We're not offering paradise or easy answers. We're offering freedom and all the responsibilities that come with it. The choice is yours. The transmission ended. The council chamber fell into chaos once again. Representatives argued, some demanding immediate military action against the Alliance. Others quietly recording the coordinates for later investigation. Velthorn watched it all in silence. The Arbiter had maintained order for thousands of years, had seen civilizations rise and fall, had guided the Council through countless crises. But this was different. This was not an external threat that could be fought or contained. This was an idea, and ideas could not be destroyed by weapons. In the shadows of the observation gallery, hidden among the crowds of lesser diplomats and aides, 17 ambassadors from various council species quietly transmitted the coordinates to their home governments. The seed had been planted. Over the next 3 years, the Free Systems Alliance grew exponentially. Species did not defect en masse, but a steady stream of individuals, families, and small groups made the journey to freedom. Some council members officially protested but took no action. Others began secretly communicating with the Alliance, seeking technological exchanges and diplomatic channels. The Galactic Council did not fall. Instead, it slowly began to change. Representatives who had supported reform for centuries suddenly found their voices amplified. New proposals emerged, reducing restrictions on technology development, allowing member species more autonomy, establishing direct communication channels with the Alliance. It was not revolution. It was evolution. Slow, painful, but inevitable. Alina stood once again at the viewport of Unity Station. Now 7 years after that desperate standoff above Earth, behind her, the command center bustled with activity from dozens of species. All working together, Dr. Okoro joined her, holding yet another report. The latest census shows we now have populations in 73 systems, 19 species, and requests for membership continue to arrive daily. And the Devourers? Elena asked, still consolidated in the north. But their patrol patterns have changed. Some of our long-range scouts think they're responding to the ancient caches we've been investigating. It's possible the technology we're recovering is triggering recognition protocols in their systems. They might remember what they once were. Then we need to be ready. For when they come south again, they'll find a galaxy that's very different from the one they left. And the Council. Alina smiled. They're learning slowly, but they're learning that control through fear has limits. We didn't destroy them. We just showed the galaxy there's another option. Sometimes that's all it takes to change everything. A junior officer approached with a message tablet. Chancellor, we're receiving a transmission from an unidentified vessel. They're using old council encryption, but the message is addressed to you personally. Lena took the tablet and read the message. Her eyes widened slightly. It's from a council observer named Velamon. Says they've been watching our development and want to establish a formal diplomatic channel. They believe the Council and the Alliance can find common ground. Do you believe that? Okoro asked. Alina considered the question. I believe anything is possible when people are willing to talk instead of fight. We were banished to die, James. Instead, we built an empire. Not of conquest or control, but of cooperation and freedom. If that's possible, then maybe peace with the Council is too. She sent a response, accepting the meeting request. Outside the viewport, ships from a dozen worlds continued their work. Building the future one station at a time, humanity had been cast out and left to perish. Instead, they had become the catalyst for galactic change. They had proven that exile could become opportunity, that the unwanted could build something beautiful. And that fear was not the only way to survive in a dangerous universe. The age of the Council's absolute control was ending. The age of the Free Systems Alliance was just beginning. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the corrupted devourers continued their ancient patrol patterns. Unaware that the galaxy they had terrorized for millennia is finally preparing to fight back, the story of humanity's banishment had become the story of humanity's triumph. And across the stars, billions of beings looked up at the night sky with new understanding. They were not prisoners of circumstance. They were architects of their own destiny. All they needed was the courage to build.